Hey family, it's Dr. Naima Johnston-Bush from The Refreshing Life with Naima, and I'm here with an Etsy haul video. But first I want to show you one of the sales that I had. I had two sales last week. Which, I'm averaging about two sales a week now. And for me, I only have about 130 items in my store. And I think that's pretty good. I've never really gotten above 130 items, but I've had about 90 sales since I started in June 2016. So I've been doing this for about a year and a half, and it's been going pretty well. And my husband says if I get serious, I'd be really... I'd be a bad mama jamma, but who's got time to be serious with all I got going on? But anyway, let me show you what I sold. I sold these two Star Wars buttons. One says, "May the Force be with you," and the other one says, "Ask me for your Star Wars Return of the Jedi glasses." And I found these in an itty bitty thrift store, one of my honey holes, I like to call it, for $1.25 each. And I sold them. They're vintage from the 1980s. And I sold these two buttons, and they are button size. I mean, they are not big, for $16.99. So $16.99, that is the big sale for the week. So like I said, I'm not a serious Etsy seller in that, I do this as a full-time job, or I'm trying to replace my income. It really started out as a hobby when I was sick, and it has become something that I just love to do, and I get, some extra bucks from it. Enough to turn a profit, and so I'm enjoying doing that, and maybe I'll spend some time really working at it, but I've got so much other stuff going on that I just don't know if I have the time. So let me show you what I've got going. I went to an estate sale last weekend, and I said I was only going to spend I had $20. And this is what I got. The first thing I want to show you is the light is not great in here. I have a little ring light that my dad got me for Christmas, but it's like a pinky, peachy, bubbly, it's Calvin Klein. It's a vintage Calvin Klein stretch bracelet. It's in great condition, but it had these real interesting bubbly things. I don't know what you call those. And I don't know. I think it's from the late 70s. And so I'm going to do a little research and see, what I can get on that. I don't know much about it. I just know that it's vintage Calvin Klein. And I never seen anything quite like this. I thought it was an interesting piece, and it's in good condition. So I got that, and I went on Saturday because I only go to estate sales the day they close. So everything was half off. So this was $3. The next thing that I got was this owl, and he's kind of cool, I think. I've got an owl brooch in my shop right now that's been there a while. I thought it would have sold. I had some owl earrings. They didn't last very long, but I got a real pretty owl brooch in there. But this is a necklace, and I paid $5 for it, I guess, because it says 10. So, but I don't remember paying $5 for this. So maybe it was 75% off. But I knew that it was an older piece because it had the removable part right here, and then the way that was sitting, there was a sticky back there, I guess, and the way it was sitting. So I don't think it's very old, probably from the early 90s. It's not marked, and I don't believe it's silver. It doesn't look like it's silver. I got a magnet and a what do you call it? A jewelry loop for Christmas. And so I was having a little jewelry loop out at this stage, so I was looking at stuff. But my magnet, I set it down somewhere and I can't find it. And of course, those things are so small. It's still in the box, and my guess it's on my desk somewhere. And if you could see what my desk looked like, you'd be like, what the heck? Anyway, the next thing that I want to show you is I got these Monet hearts, and I'm going to get these up today. I'm going to try to get them pictured and up to date because I think they'd be great for Valentine's. I paid $3 for these, and I do not believe that these are very, very old. These are probably early 90s. I mean, they're vintage, but they're not very, very old. They're post back. But I don't even think she ever wore them because they don't even look like they were ever worn. And so, yeah, I'm going to put those up today. I like Monet. Monet is a good costume jewelry brand to look for. It sells pretty decently, particularly when you can find something that looks a little unusual. I've sold Trifari. Trifari has done really well for me. But I've sold Monet as well. I've sold some Sarah Coventry, and I've got all of those in my shop. And then this is a Trifari piece, and it's another one that, like I said, it isn't very, very old. It's probably from, I don't know, the 80s. I don't know, but it's clearly marked on the back Trifari. I don't know if you can see that, but it isn't very, very old. This is pretty 80s 90s style, this whole thing. I don't know if they still make Trifari. I'll have to do some research. If anybody knows, let me know. If Angie, if you watch this, I bet you'd know. So I paid $3 for this, so this must have been $1.50. But I thought it was kind of a cool pin. It looked like it reminded me of when I was in high school, so that would have been the late 80s, early 90s. I graduated from college in the early 90s. So, and then I got this vintage perfume bottle, which I thought was kind of cool. It reminds me of that perfume wind song. Your wind song stays on my mind. I don't have any real funny stories to tell. Usually I have a funny story when I go out to state sales, but I don't have, or I go sourcing, for my shop. I don't really have any funny stories. But I just thought this was a neat perfume bottle. I don't see perfume bottles too much like this. And so, like I said, I haven't done any research, but I wanted to show you guys what I had and what I paid for it. I paid $3 for this. Might have been less because I can't remember now if it was 50% off or 75% off. And so, yeah. So I got that. And depending upon, I have to know what I'm going to price it at, I need to do the research. One of the things that I found that I just fell in love with, and it is so beautiful, but it was marked down $4, and they had on their little vintage swan. So I didn't pay $4. I paid either $2 or a little bit less because, like I said, I can't remember. It's not broken. It's not broken or anything. It's a swan, and I don't know if it's cut glass or hand blown. I think it's cut glass, because hand blown there's usually when things are hand blown, they usually have bubbles in them, and I don't see any bubbles. And when things are hand blown, they usually there's like color differences, like very subtle. It's the same color, but it's color differences. This thing is so delicate, I don't even know how I'm going to ship it, but it's not very big, and it's so pretty. So I'm going to be cleaning that up today because it's a little dusty. And I got it out of a curio cabinet. It was one of the last things there. And people probably didn't want to mess with it because it's so delicate. But I'm going to clean it up, and then I'm going to bubble wrap it and store it in a box. And hopefully it won't sit very, very long. But it's real pretty. So I got that. And then the last two things that I got, and then I'll show you just a couple of odds and ends that I have hanging around for some strange reason. I got this thing, which I'm not exactly sure. It was made in Italy, and it has a number on the back, B95D125. I don't know what that means. I have no clue. Or is that B75? Made in Italy. But it's glazed, and it has I think that's a maple leaf. And I guess you could use it for the fall. You could put nuts in it, or, fall decor. Put it on your table, put some nuts in it. Potpourri. I don't know, something. Fruit. I don't know. But I found that, and I paid, it says Italy, the tag says Italy. $5 is what it was marked at. So I paid $2.50 or less, because remember, it was the end of the show, so everything was 50% off, 75%. I can't remember. That's bad. It's been so long since I've done a haul video, but I wanted to do one for you. And then I found this candy dish, and it was marked at $6. And so that means I paid $3 or less for it. I need to pull out the receipt and look at it, and that'll tell me. But I think that's cut glass too, when it's etched, and it's pretty intricately etched. So I need to do some research on that. But it's like a vintage candy dish, in a rose pattern. Something my grandmother would have. And the roses are, they're raised. They're not flat. I don't know if you can see that, but they're actually raised on the glass. So that's pretty cool. I thought it was kind of a cute candy dish. And because this is my hobby, my philosophy a lot of times with the things that I purchase is, if it doesn't sell, will I use it? Or is there somebody I can give it away to? So that was all that I got at that haul. Like I said, I only had $20, and I didn't want to spend a lot. But I have a couple of things that I just either listed or found. I had, for a moment there, I was running into all this precious moment stuff. And it sells for me. Some people, they tell me that they sell cookbooks. I got cookbooks, and they ain't moved. And some people tell me that, they sell jewelry. I've got a ton of jewelry, and I don't sell very much jewelry. So when I brought that stuff home, my husband was like, I thought you wasn't dealing with jewelry. And I was like, well, I couldn't really resist it. Let's see how it does. And then, but I know lots of people who do really well with jewelry. And then some people do really well with, what's the other thing that people say they do good with? Patterns and wrapping paper and cross stitch. But I don't. But you know what I sell a lot of? I do really, really well with, and there's a lot of it in my shop, and I sell really, really well. I sell a lot of figurines. I come across a lot of vintage Napco, Anesco, vintage figurines from the 50s all the way up to, the early 90s, and I sell that stuff. That stuff moves in my shop, and I'm not exactly sure why that is. But I went through a period over the last couple months when I wasn't making any videos, where I was finding all of this precious moment stuff. Like, I went and spoke at this women's event, and they were having this silent auction, and they had all this precious moments, and it was vintage stuff from the 70s and 80s, and nobody had bid on it. And so I bid like $1 on one, and I bid $1 on the other, and then somebody came back and bid $2 on one, so I went back and bid $3 on it, and I won it. I won 3 pieces, and one of the pieces I already sold, and I sold it for like $25.99. So yeah, so that works really well for me. And so I think my tip, if you're learning to sell vintage items on Etsy, my tip for you would be, find what works for you, find your niche, and see. And some of that is trial and error, and see how you do. But one of the things that I found, I went on I went out to a couple flea markets, and I found some more precious moments, and I haven't sold any of that. There was only 2 pieces, and this Christmas ornament. So my goal was, now I went out in this is, oh, it must have been late October, because it was still about 80 degrees here. So it probably was October. But I found this Christmas ornament, right? And I was like, oh, it's so cool, It's 1997, so it's really just has become vintage. I will get that up for Christmas for this year. And then I forgot all about it. And it's the cutest little Christmas ornament. Can you all see that? And it says, Precious Sweetheart. And there's a little boy and a little girl in there. And then the other day, my husband was cleaning his desk, and he was like, here. And he handed it to me. And I was like, what the heck? And he was like, I don't know how I got on my desk. I forgot I bought it. Missed the Christmas season. It didn't get put up for Christmas. It's a Christmas ornament. I guess I was out in the in our living room taking pictures, which sometimes I take them on our porch and sometimes I take them in the living room. But I did just get one of those white, photo boxes. That in and of itself is a whole nother video. But anyway, so I got one of those photo boxes. And so I was taking pictures out there. So I usually stack everything up on his desk because his desk is in that area, like in our living room. And then we have this just room, like our family room. You have to go through the family room to go into the kitchen. And then next to the family room is the living room. And so I was in there taking these pictures. And I stack stuff on his desk as I take a picture. So I must have left it on his desk and it got buried because his desk looked like my desk. So that's bad. Anyway. But I'm still going to put this up. I'm going to put it up because sometimes people buy Christmas stuff after Christmas. January is usually a pretty slow month, but I've done pretty well this January, and I'm really surprised about that. I paid $1 for this, and I'll probably look and see what the comps are to something similar to this. But for Precious Moments, 1997, there's a lot of Precious Moments available. I mean, it's not rare, but there are still a lot of collectors, and so I probably won't price it very, very high, because my philosophy, I know some people are like, price it high and wait. My philosophy is price it to move. And so I price it to move. And that's my plan, to price it to move. I also have this book, my prayer book, and it's from it has a cross on the cover, and it has all these neat little prayers in it, like Wednesday morning, and it's Wednesday morning right now. With a grateful heart I rise to praise thee, O Lord my God, for thou hast refreshed me with a restful sleep and giving me thy grace to see the dawn of a new day. I mean, it has all these awesome prayers in here, for gratitude for the joy of being a Christian, gratitude for special blessings received, prayers for the youth of the church, for youth workers in hospitals. I mean, there's a lot of neat little prayers in this book. And it's from, like I said, 1953, Concordia Publishing House, 1957. And although, you can see it's yellowed and it's frayed, nobody ever used it, because here's the front page. So, I don't know, I paid $1 for it. And I did already put it up. So this is already up for sale in my shop, but I can't remember what I listed it at. But I know I paid $1 for it. And then the last thing that I want to show you guys is my funky candlesticks. My funky candlesticks. I got these candlesticks from a thrift store I was in Orlando. I was outside of Orlando. Clearwater? No, Clearwater's on the other side of the coast. Claremont? I don't know. Orlando somewhere. For those of you who know me, I live in Florida, in Jacksonville. But we go to Orlando quite a bit because, I like to see the mouse. But that's not why we were in Orlando. We were in Orlando for some business. And I dropped my husband off. He had some meetings and I went thrifting. And I wish I would have done a video because that was a great haul. But I got these funky candlesticks. I mean, they are really funky. I think they're mid-century modern. I think they might be German glazed, because I saw something similar to this after I posted this, and it said German stoneware. some vintage German stoneware. So that might be what they are. But it makes me think of nursery rhymes because, you know, it had a little handle. And you go take the candlestick up the steps and stuff. I don't know. So, yeah, I got these cool candlesticks. And these are already for sale up in the shop. So that's my little haul for you guys. I mean, I know it's not like a big, huge haul. I've been running a lot of sales because I'm trying to get out of a couple of items like books. I'm trying to not pick up books. And that's really it. I don't have any intention of thrifting in the next week or so. So I don't have any haul videos planned or sale videos planned. We've got a lot going on. And then February is my busiest travel month. And I get to travel, you know, all over the bottom half of the country, the warm half. So we're going out to Louisiana. Well, we are going up to Nashville. It's pretty cold up that way. And so I'll be doing some thrifting in preparation for my summer, because it seems like the summer, you know, there's a big pickup right around Mother's Day into July, and then things seem kind of slow in October, and then I mean they seem pretty slow in August, and then they start to pick up again in October. So I want to make sure they have a really good selection going. So that is what's going on with Miss Seal's Etsy shop. Check out my channel for, I've started vlogging, and there's music and all kinds of great stuff. And if you're interested in learning more about starting a vintage Etsy shop, go back and check out some of the other videos that I've done. Haven't been very consistent about Etsy, but yeah, it's been pretty cool. I've primarily been talking about sourcing and the things I've been finding out, more so than marketing or how Etsy works, because there's so many videos about that. I know I like to just see the finds that people find. I learned from that, because a lot of the things that I've learned about, like the type of brands I should be looking for, the name brands, the different clues that tell me if something is vintage or not, I've learned from watching YouTube videos. So that's been very cool. So that's it, family. I hope you all had a blessed Christmas and a happy New Year to you. And may all your Etsy dreams come true as you work to build your Etsy empire. And then you insert your laugh. Ha 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 ha. All right, guys. Love you much. Take care.